After having a scheduled fight against Shinya Aoki, Sage Northcutt unfortunately has to pull out of his next ONE FC fight due to lingering issues with COVID-19. In this video, we're going to talk about why that's a big deal, what's next for Sage Northcutt, and if gyms should even be operating the way that they are. As mentioned in this video, we're going to take a look at Sage Northcutt actually pulling out of his fight against Shinya Aoki. And this is news that I guess is close to, you could say for lack of better words, our hearts, because we actually interviewed Sage the day he got not only tested for COVID, but got announced positive for COVID. He came on to our show. We spoke to him. He let us know about the symptoms. What do you say? He had a fever of like 103 or something. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was something ridiculously high. He probably shouldn't have even been doing the interview, and still this guy comes on just happy-go-lucky. Thank you, Sage, for doing it. But yeah, I mean, to know that not only he had it, but that gym has been so affected by it at Team Alpha Male, and now this guy obviously had to pull out of his fight. I think that's pretty huge news when we hear it too about guys like Khamzat Chimaev not being able to fight because he keeps coughing up blood and he keeps going training and things like that. Like, this thing is for real, clearly, and if guys aren't taking it the way they should in terms of recovery, it keeps coming back. And who knows, maybe they're getting it more than once, or maybe getting punched in the stomach or throat or something is causing it to keep getting this way for people. But I mean, Cody Garbrandt hasn't fought since, and Northcutt hasn't fought since. A lot of guys are struggling, and I think it's something that maybe we should start considering.
And to put a little bit of pretense, whenever we had spoken to Sage, we were actually supposed to do an interview for him the day before, but he actually backed out at the last minute. Didn't really come up with an excuse as to why, and then we did it the next day, and he had gotten that test, I'm pretty sure, this day before, and got the results the next morning, or got tested the morning of because he was getting these symptoms.
Yeah,
he was very upbeat, but he was still training. Yeah, the guy was he looked like he just finished a workout. But then you look at that was about a week or about 5 days after the news came out that a couple people had it at Team Alpha Male. And then next thing you know, Sage had it. Not a really big surprise, right? Because few other people already had it. And it seems like once it hits the gym, it's going to hit everybody. Maybe not everyone thinks of it the same way or gets results of it the same way. But clearly there's something especially with professional athletes, maybe it's the general public as well, that these long-term lingering effects. I don't know if it's getting punched, or maybe it's just being at your extreme while training. And really working out your lungs and making it last a lot longer. I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit scary.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's just what it comes down to, where, yeah, it's great places, especially in the United States, are open to let these guys train, that major organizations could put on shows. But like over here in Canada, I mean, we are closed. And as much as we complain about it, at the same time, it could be better for the long-term health, where we're not having these guys who are probably going to have lingering issues. Yeah, you could work out on your own regard, but you can't go in these gyms. You can't be exposed at this level at a constant basis. And that alone maybe should be considered. Maybe there should be stricter regulations in gyms. Maybe if you got tested positive for COVID and you have any lingering symptoms, like maybe you can't train for 60 days or something like that. Like, they need to, I guess, figure out something to prevent this from happening, because realistically, if he pulled out of this fight, we know how bad, after speaking to him, Sage loves to fight and wanted to fight this year. Like, we don't know when he's going to fight next. And that's a very scary thing as well, where it might not be, like, it might not even be summer, and maybe he's going to try again and the same thing is going to happen. We don't know.
He was trying to get 3 fights in this year, is what he was telling us.
Yeah.
Not getting 3 fights in now, that's for sure. And as you hit on the nail there, we're closed up here right now. And whenever we were open, we had fairly small amount of people in there. But training for these sports involves a lot of sparring, a lot of one-on-one, a lot of getting close. You can't do it without getting close to another person. And whenever you're bringing together multiple people, and then all those people have their own contacts, your circle is very, very large. So it becomes very hard to stop that spread once it starts. And clearly it's happened in a lot of the American gyms that it has spread in through the gyms. So it's hard to say what's the right or wrong way to do it. But you look at all these professional organizations, and UFC was able to have fights, yes, but I'm sure they were doing rapid testing beforehand. They had all these measures to try to separate these people until they got into that fight, and then they made sure that they're negative before that fight. Maybe what these professional organizations need to be passing down to their people that are training to fight in those organizations, maybe the training centers have to follow maybe not the same, but just as strict regulations.
Yeah, and maybe there has to be like a dedicated team of guys that these organizations approve of that they could actually spar with, or things along those lines. Because yeah, I mean, to still be losing fights to this thing, not just for guys testing positive, but for lingering issues after a year, I think that's something that is just a huge concern. And all the well to Sage, we definitely hope he gets better. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. If you are looking for forward to a fight, this fight for Shinya Aoki will still go on. He will fight Eduard Folayang on April 28th. I believe they've already fought twice before. Exciting fight to happen there. But overall, the big news obviously is Sage Northcutt not being able to make the fight, which is super unfortunate. So let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon with some more content.